Today we have Tania and María Isabel from Club Pilates. They're going to share a lot of information about franchises and franchisees and how that works. Sometimes it's really hard for us to understand and to know the difference between going into our own brand or building a franchise. So stay tuned and check out this interview. Good morning, everyone. We're back at Coffee with Founders. Today we have María Isabel and Tania with us. They're founders of Club Pilates. It's a franchise of Pilates, and they decided to start their own. So, girls, thank you so much for being here today with us.
No, thank you, Barbara, and thank you for hosting this amazing interview.
And I appreciate you guys and taking the time and being here today. So why don't we start a little bit with your background? I know that you've met in a previous job that you guys worked together at a company. So how did that start, and how did it lead to starting your own business?
Yeah, we met in Yum Restaurants International. We worked in the restaurant division for Pizza Hut, and we were in charge of Central America, the Caribbean, and part of South America. Tania was working on marketing, and I was working on operations. So we normally travel together to the countries, and that's how we start our relationship, and it was amazing. And we understood that marketing and operations needed to live together in order to make things happen. So it was a very nice combination, and that's how we start our relationship, our friendship. And then Tania started to look for, life took us different routes. She was in Europe, I was in Puerto Rico, then we were here, and then again we met, and she was looking for something to really make an impact on our community. So one day she called me, and I say, of course.
Yes.
And here we are after 5 years in this amazing brand that is Club Pilates.
Tania, when you were looking at opportunities outside your business, when you were looking at other franchises, before you went ahead and called María Isabel, was there something specific you were looking for? Was it when María Isabel said that you wanted to make an impact? Was it strictly franchise, or what were you looking for?
Well, I was looking for a concept in the health and wellness space. I thought that we could impact our community through that space in a positive way. And I went to a broker who sells franchises, and we thought franchise made more sense because they're proven concepts, and we were not inventing the wheel and starting everything from scratch. So that's why we decided to go with a franchise. And when I saw Club Pilates, I was really appealed by it because it's very innovative. It's a franchise that it disrupts the market by being more inclusive, not only from a Pilates point of view, but also from a value point of view. It's more accessible, and it's for, we can reach a lot more people through Club Pilates. So that's why it was an appealing brand for us.
Right. It's intriguing, or it's interesting to think about how you guys came from a franchise world. You said Yum Corporation from Pizza Hut, everything is pretty much structured, right? But now you're on the other side. When you're in a franchise business, you want to set the foundation for franchisees, but now you're a franchisee. What's the difference? Is there anything specifically that you guys really like being on this side? Was there something that you struggled in the beginning? Tell us a little bit about that.
It really was an opportunity to be, yes, we are on the other side. No, I'm just kidding. But it was nice because we really understood both sides.
Right.
I think our success in the corporate world, being the liaison between the corporate and the franchisees, was to really understand what was that corporate has their own structure, and we were the liaison. So go and tell the franchisees this, and you have to do that. But as develop really a skill to understand that for the franchisee was their lives. It was not just a business.
Right.
You wake up with the business, you go to lunch with the business, you go in the afternoon with the business, you go to bed with the business. Is your life. So to really understand that was, I think, the success key thing for us to be to know how to be a franchisee. We understood that now is not, something that we just plug and unplug, but something that how we can put our own beliefs and our own principles and things that we were looking for. Because luckily we both like the part that is, we like people. We like our employees. We like people. We like to link with every single person. So that's why I think it was something that it was um, a bit easier because we understood both worlds.
Right. That is great. And when you were talking about being on the corporate side and now understanding the franchisee side as well, because you were talking about how the franchisee sees, they see the business as just like any other entrepreneur that started their own business and their own brand in a different way. Tanya, you talked about deciding to go with Club Pilates because a franchise, it's a proven concept, but at the same time, you're owning that concept and you're owning that business. And I guess for me, it's hard to see sometimes how, when you get a franchise, you have a concept and you have to do things in a certain way, and you're giving the product and you're giving the style of the shop that you're putting, how it's going to look, how the marketing is going to be done. But at the same time, you want to put your own touch to your little brand that you're building. So how do you guys manage to do that, to put your own heart, like you're saying, you wake up with the business and you go to bed with the business, but at the same time, it's managed by a bigger corporation. How is that process? How do you guys manage to do that?
Tanya?
Yes. I think that's where our passion comes in. And like María Isabel was saying, people comes first for us. And our first customer is our employees. And we really take care of them. And we take them through our vision and mission, and why this business makes sense, making a positive impact in the community, and all those little details helping the customer service. At the end of the day, if there's a purpose in the business, it brings the reason why for them to belong to this of this studio and this community. It's not only being a front desk, it's being a person that it's making a positive impact in people's lives and in the community. So I think that we bring that into the business, and that's why we can differentiate from other places and even from other Club Pilates. We put a stamp in what we do, and we do it with love, and I think that's what makes us different.
That's great. And how much, because a lot of times when you talk to a person that wants to go into the restaurant business, let's say, and they're thinking, okay, either do I go franchise or do I build my own? And I guess a lot of times the questions that people ask in their mind is, how much do I'm going to be able to put, my own personal touch to these, and how, because what you were saying is you're able to put a little bit. How much is the corporation actually, how much freedom you do have to put into this business, and how do you manage to, okay, because you're doing an impact within the corporation as well. Club Pilates for you is a business, and you're impacting Club Pilates in a positive way. But there might be other business owners like you guys that have a Club Pilates, and some customers had a bad experience. And I go there, and then I don't want to go to yours because I had a bad experience, but that's from a different franchisee. So how is that process in the franchise world? That it's sometimes a question for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. Because when you enter a brand that has a big umbrella, common people don't understand that there are different franchisees. This is one brand. I don't care. And
Yes.
that's why a franchise is the power of a franchise, because you have processes, you have structure, you have training material, you have training courses, you have the way how you sell it, the way that how you say it. I've seen in my experience how brands get into a culture. Not everyone is like us, like, you know, we kiss, we hug, we laugh, we, even if we don't know the person, we dance with the person. I mean, it depends how free we are, but I mean, we are like that.
Right.
But if I can tell you, in Asia, that, you know, it was when KFC got into there, they were not ready to look at your eyes. And when I saw like thousands of restaurants just saying, "Hey, how you doing? Good morning," and leaving, you know, lifting the hand, then is when you really feel the power of a brand, because
Right.
getting into a culture that it's so ingrained in every person. So I think, and I believe, um, the most powerful thing between the decision going on, if I go on a franchisee or I do my own, is really the power that you have within you. And it's because whatever you do, it doesn't matter if it's a franchisee or is your own. If you believe in yourself, you, that person, that franchisor, or that brand, or that thing that you create is going to have you as a person. It's
Definitely.
a power that nobody can give it to you.
I
Not a
know.
franchisee, not a brand, not nothing. Is if you believe in yourself, and it could sound like, yeah, I read that in a book, and yeah, you know, a lot of person, yeah, you believe in yourself, but really, because I've seen it, the best ideas in the franchisee world comes from a franchisee, not from the franchisor. Because the franchisor, they have the concept, they have the process, they have the big machines, they have all these big things. But since I do it, leave it every single day, and I operate the business, then I can see things that they cannot see. And that's why when there is that join between those two worlds, that's the best way. But the thing is that, how can I imprint my business with what I want? Obviously, if I go to a franchisee, and if I go to that world and I want to change because I was on the other side, that they want to invent everything that I was already invent, say, no, 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 sorry, I was the bad guy, you have to do this way. But is the service, is the love, is the thing, is how you put yourself in that process. How you, I mean, I can say, hi, how you doing, good morning. Hey, hi, how you doing, good morning. I mean, it's the happiness that I have inside that I cannot ingrain you. I can give you the words, I can give you the process, I can give you the structure, I cannot give you the attitude that you're going to put behind that.
For sure.
That's for me a big difference. So it depends on every person to choose one on another, but I think it's the force that you have inside.
And
I
think,
hope I'm not going to send, but that's what I believe.
no, you're touching on a very important thing, and you guys talked about it already. The mission and the vision that you have it in yourself, and that comes down to your passion, what you want to do, that you guys like people, and then you want to transform something. You want to make an impact in your community. So if everything is aligned, you'll be able to have that relationship, and you'll be able to, you know, wake up every morning and say good morning, like you said, with that enthusiasm. Otherwise, you wouldn't say it that way. And that brings me to a question. Tania, you touched on it a little bit, your team, because one thing is to believe in yourself and to do everything with passion. But another one is to really understand that you cannot do it all, especially in a franchise. If you open more than one location, you have a team, right? And you have to trust them. But in order for you to trust them, you have to train them properly. You talked about explaining your mission and your vision to them. But why don't you tell us, share a little bit about what specifically you guys do with them to train them in the very beginning when they start working with you, and then continuously. Do you guys do other activities? How do you remind them about why you're there every morning? How do you help them when they're going through, maybe they make a mistake and they didn't remember what you guys trained them for? So how do you go back to the foundation of the business? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we took the time to write everything out in a PowerPoint. It goes back to the basics, and if you have things written down, I think it's and it's not set in stone. It's a living document too. So we did it, the two of us, María Isabel and myself. We wrote our mission and our vision and our values, and then after 3 years, we had a bigger team, and we sat with the whole team with like the people that had direct reports to us, and we sat with them, and we tweaked it a little bit because we wanted the values to represent the entire team and not only María Isabel and mine. So we made them part of this process, and they felt some ownership, and we think that's important. If they feel that they're part of it, if they feel that they're part of putting their stamp in this company that we believe in, they're gonna act a little bit differently, being more accountable and acting a little bit more like owners. So when we're not in the studio, they're the owners. And we tell them that, and we allow them to take decisions with a framework, of course, but we back them up in the decisions that they do, because sometimes they know we are the owners, and a member comes and asks us directly, and we're like, no, you have to go through the studio manager. And in that way, we respect the roles and we give them their ownership. And I think that's valuable too, because it shows them that we value them and we appreciate them. So it's training, and in a day-to-day, giving them their responsibilities and accountability, and letting them act as owners too. If they make a mistake, this is not a hospital or an emergency care. Nobody's dying, so we can fix the problem, or we can learn from it and continue on. And I think it's a day-to-day. We also do events to bring the team together. We take them out. We took them out in a boat. We go to the beach, and we do fun activities for them to become closer.
Right.
Yes, and that helps, building the community, the team, and helping to know each other apart from the day-to-day of the business.
Yeah, and I think that's so important because at the end of the day, you want to grow your business and you want your people to be there with you. You don't want to be training employees every other month because their turnaround is every other month. So once you build that foundation and you build that trust within your team, it's easier for you as well, and the business is going to be more successful. For your clients are going to start to know them, and they're going to come in and they're going to have the friendly faces that they see all the time, and that's what it's all about. And we're big believers of that. We're also people and we love to be around people and to smile and be friendly, and I think the service comes all down to that. And that, when we're talking about team and growing, you guys have 3 locations now. In terms of the franchise and the teams growing, having a franchise and being under a franchise, does that make it easier for you guys to grow, to open a second and third location? What do you think would be the difference if you had your own Pilates studio versus having the Club Pilates and now growing as a franchise? What do you think would be the difference? Is it easier? Is it basically the same? What do you guys think on that?
What I can tell you from our experience being in operations and being really in connection with every area of the business. When we started with Club Pilates, they have a small business. It was a very young company when they started. Now that there is a big company, and you send like a site, and in terms of, I don't know, 10 minutes, they will return it to you with a layout. I mean, you can be a genius and can turn that and see it. But for instance, the power that the system have of turning things around the way that you need it, in terms of products or the equipment, the power of negotiating prices, the scale, the scale that they have more than 700 Club Pilates around the country, and they have international. So that power obviously gives you more room to negotiate prices in terms of equipment, in terms of materials, in terms of a lot of things. Not always is Disneyland, because being in international, we always push to have the same quality as the US. But being the US, you cannot push me to have a provider that it's in Ohio that doesn't know me, and I have to do it email when I can go, Miami and find 10 people that I can talk in person and I see it. And so that I found being in the international market in US, I think here is easier. It's easier to get to that. And just to get to your question, if it's easier or not, I think always when you have a big company supporting you, it's a little bit easier. I would not say, oh no, you can do it, because it depends, but it's easier. I think it's easier.
And I'm interested in knowing a little bit about the operation, not the operations per se of each location, but in terms of local partnerships, instead of different things that you do at each location's level, just because you're owning three right now, do you have to go? I mean, what do you guys do internally to make sure you treat them all three as separate business, obviously under the same franchise umbrella, but a separate one because you're in different locations. So people are going to be different. Their needs are going to be different. The reason why they go to Pilates is probably different. So how do you work on that?
Normally you have commonalities among, like for a brand, you have like in Tania, I will let Tania explain more, but it's the marketing calendar. There's like 3 big things for the year or the semester that applies, to all 3. But really, when you want to, connect with a community, you have to go out and see what is the difference. And they're totally different. Totally different. Brickell is one world, South Miami is another world, and Coral Gables is another world. They have the similarities, but also they have the beauty of being different. And 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 that's a lot of work to understand the language. It's amazing because when we were going international, and my boss that speak English says, "Oh, but it's Spanish." No. Same word, same language. It doesn't mean the same thing. So you have to learn in every single community the language of, make sense for them. Brickell is a more fast community. You have to go faster with everything. South Miami is more family oriented, the same as Coral Gables, but in a different way.
Right.
It's totally different. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I just to add a little bit on that, we also, like Maria Isabel was saying, we have like a calendar for all 3 studios, and we have similarities, but we also have local events. For example, for our anniversary, what we do is we go out in the neighborhood, we collaborate with local vendors, we raffle local things, we give discounts to our local vendors. So we bring the community for specific events of the studio. And that's the way we know our neighbors, and we can impact them also in a positive way. And for example, if there is a new store opening next door, we reach out to them and we say, hey, we'll collaborate, we'll advertise you on our newsletters, you can do the same. And that's a way to really help out each other out, and you know, yeah, and be part of the community locally.
Yeah, I think that is so important because, and right now, I think the local communities are getting together more than ever, especially with what we just faced last year, and we're still going through. We're all together and we're helping each other out, and I think we're more conscious about, you know, what we eat, where we exercise, and all the small businesses around every area. We just get together. At the end of the day, your customers are going to be my customers are your customers. And one day,
Exactly.
even if we're in the same industry, you know, if we had a gym, one day they're going to work out at yours, and then the next day they're going to work out at mine. And, you know, if we help each other out, I think we just keep growing, and the community is going to be happier as well, because, you know, they feel like everywhere they're part of everyone, which is what we're striving for. And I think that's great. I wanted to get a little bit into the franchisor side now that you guys been in both sides. Let's say, you know, there's a small business that is growing and has 10 locations or something, and now they're thinking about going as a franchise. What are things that you would recommend a person or someone, you that being in that position, to be a successful franchise? You know, if you're starting 5, 10 locations and you're like, yeah, I think franchise is the way to go for me. What would you recommend? What do you think are things that have you seen failed on some of the businesses you've worked on, and things that are making successful for some of those big businesses that have made it?
I, if I can summarize, there's two words that I always either or, which side you choose. There's two words: consistency and discipline. Um, because in everything you do, if you have processes, or for instance with our employees recognition, you have to have a culture to sustain your brand. You have to have processes in order for you to, you know, replicate what you're trying to do. You have to have organization. You have to have all the things, the elements that you can imagine in a company, but to really do it with a consistent and disciplined way is what it will make you be successful or not. Because I've seen, I mean, many approaches in franchisees, small franchisees, medium franchisees, big franchisees, franchisees that have, I mean, 8, 7 brands. And it's that at the end of the day was how much they care about their people. That's the first thing. Because the other things you can do it. You can, you know, you can find ways. But the franchisees that really have, you know, been able to grow in a faster way is because they have the right people. And to have the right people, you have to have the right culture. You have to care about them. You have to really recognize them. Recognition is tricky, because some cultures don't really get the recognition. Oh, yeah, okay. But recognize with the heart when you really see something that, you know, you really appreciate, and you recognize things that will reinforce your values, and it has an impact that I've seen it. I mean, I've seen it ballrooms with 300 people just, and it was not a famous speaker. It was real people just asking, or, you know, bringing their family and tell them, you know, they appreciate them through their work. So I've seen things doing in a consistent and a disciplined way, whatever you choose to do it. And for me, that's a recipe for success. So if you have five studios or 5 restaurants or 3, and you want to grow, just choose to be consistent and disciplined on whatever you want to be. Just choose, just just do it every single day, you know.
And thank you for sharing that, María Isabel. Tania, is there anything you want to add? Not only an advice, like María Isabel was saying, staying consistent, dedicated. Is there anything you want to add as an advice for other entrepreneurs? I mean, you guys you have gone through this journey, corporate, then owning a franchise, then now owning 3 locations, your friends and business owners. Do you want to add anything in terms of, what would you recommend to them, to those people?
I think believing in yourself, like María Isabel touched it, I think that's number one. And number two, you have to go yourself and do everything that you need to do. For example, for us at the beginning, going to the city of Miami or to the city of Coral Gables, it was like, oh no, we're going to the city. Like we went and everybody's friendly. Everybody will help you out. If you don't know anything, they'll help you in the process. So just believe in yourself, have courage. If you really want to do something, go for it. And it takes guts, but and thank God I had my business partner, and together we were able to go through this journey. It's not easy, especially with the pandemic. It wasn't easy at all. Thank God there were some loans that we were able to apply to, but we've been through the ups and downs, and here we go up again, and we see there's light at the end of the tunnel, and there's always light if you believe in yourself, and also if you believe in your business. We are impacting our community in a positive way, and I think that drives us too. We're making something bigger than um, just a little family. We're being part of this community, and it has a bigger sense for us, so that's important.
No, yeah, and keeping that in mind, not only making a profitable business, because yes, we all want to be profitable, but thinking
Yes.
about what I want to do, what my business partner wants to do, and what my team, where they want to go, and impact that person on the other side. So I think you guys have shared a lot of useful information and a lot of very, the emotional side of business, which is very, very important for us. We talk about it all the time. And I think it's a good reminder for business owners out there to make sure that not only numbers run the business, but let's really get into what we feel and where we want to go. Thank you very much, ladies, for your time. Thank you for everything you share, your story. We really value your time and your feedback. Thank you so much.
Guys, I really, from the bottom of our hearts, wish you the best of success. You are an amazing couple, and you just deserve the best. So go for it.
Yes, best of luck.
Thank you very much.